What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about some of the problems I've been having with Book of Boba Fett. Now, obviously, we have one more episode to go this upcoming Wednesday. I'm recording this a few days earlier from when you guys are seeing it, but I kind of just want to go over, because obviously the last two episodes have been quite a change of pace, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then, the first four were, they were definitely episodes. They definitely existed, right? And how do I feel about it? Well, I don't think the show is god awful, okay? I think the show is severely flawed. The first episode kind of came across that way. It never really improved. There were like bouts of stupidity here and there of things I just didn't like. And so, I guess to talk about some of them, the idea of Boba Fett talking as much, and we even had the actor saying in interviews like he's trying to pass off some of his lines, right? He feels like he's talking too much. He wants to be mysterious. I agree. I think he's, I'm not part of that group that's online that thinks that he can't have a change of heart, or because he is acting very, very different, obviously, than what we've seen of him in the Star Wars movies. However, he's barely in them. You know what I mean? A lot of his legacy and a lot of his cool factor was built up by the audience. Now, I'm not saying that's okay to go against, but the idea that he's actually learned some things and evolved and changed over time, I do think actually was kind of stressed in the show. I just feel like it was kind of stressed a little bit later, right? Because he goes through like the Tusken arc and all that stuff, and then eventually you learn he's just done of doing jobs for other people that get himself in danger, gets other people killed. I get that, and I actually think he would be a smart enough person to come to that conclusion. I just don't like that it came after such a change of character where it's like, okay, well, why are you acting this way? And then you finally learn, oh, okay, and because of flashbacks and then the present time, it's all filmed, so out of order, or shown to us so out of order, that it doesn't come across, I think, in the greatest way. Now, again, there are some very stupid parts. The failed assassination attempt on him, which was, how in God's name is that even possible that it happens? And then he just lets the Wookiee go afterwards, and no hard feelings. I thought that was pretty stupid. The Power Rangers, them and their speeder bikes, I think was laughable. That chase scene was one of the worst things I think I've ever seen, not just in Star Wars, ever. Like, truly ever. It felt like they were going maybe half a mile, and like I can guarantee you I can run faster than that chase scene took place, or the speed that chase scene happened. So there are things like that, but again, I do think generally the show's okay. I don't even know what I would give it out of a 10 in that way, but I wasn't impressed whatsoever. Now the thing is this, okay? Episodes 5 and 6. Yes, on the surface level, I think they were actually excellent. You know what I mean? But isn't there, and this is controversial, if you guys don't agree, I want you to know, it's okay. Just please don't leave. I don't know if it's a good thing that in order to make this show like enjoyable or fun or like you want to watch it, you have to introduce Mando again. Does that come across the right way? So like Boba Fett was introduced in Mandalorian season 2 as a I would say maybe more of a glorified cameo, because he wasn't just like one in, one out, right? He was in there for an okay amount of time, but like then he gets his own show, and then they don't do the greatest job like at all in those first 4 episodes, and then when the show starts to get quote-unquote good, it's because he wasn't in it at all in episode 5. So while episode 5 was maybe the best episode, maybe episode 6 was, right? You can do a toss-up. Is there an issue? To me, there is. But let me just, forget that I just said that, right? Isn't there an issue with, like, the show being good because they're making it basically Mandalorian Season 3? Specifically episode 5, and I guess large portions of episode 6. Why couldn't that have just been the first 2 episodes of Mando Season 3? Why did you need to include that? Because, yes, it is in a way getting him to connect with Boba Fett, but I would say that's like the last thing that they cared about in those 2 episodes. The most important stuff was really pushing Mando's story forward with Grogu, with Luke, then we get a little bit of Ahsoka, right? Cad Bane even now. Now, Cad Bane, I guess, ties more into, Boba Fett, but, you're doing all this stuff for Mando. You're not doing any of this stuff for Boba Fett. So, yes, it was cool, and I love seeing the Darksaber, and I love seeing Grogu, and I think Luke's face, it continues to just look like it's scary how real it looks, right? Ahsoka, seeing her again was actually really awesome, right? So while all those things looked great, it's like, but this is called the Book of Boba Fett, and none of this has to do with him. So I don't know. I find that to be kind of alarming. And the fact that people are making jokes, including even people that liked the show, were making jokes of episode 6, the one that just happened, of like, hey, maybe if we're lucky, we'll get a Boba Fett cameo. It's like, yeah, that's funny, but it's kind of funny in a sad, depressing way, because it's like he was not in episode 5 at all. And then episode 6, I believe he didn't talk at all. And he stood there, and we saw him for maybe 15 to 20 seconds. So, and I also saw jokes that he reverted back to his normal, episode 5 basically self, where he's absent most of the time, and then when he's there, he doesn't really talk, or he's kind of invisible. That's actually very true with what they've done in the last 2 episodes. 5, he's not in at all. 6, he's in it for maybe 20 seconds, and he doesn't talk, and he also doesn't have the helmet on. I think that's also an issue too. He takes the helmet off way too much. And I don't know if that's a contract thing or that's what the show wanted to do. I don't really think we needed to see his face as much. Like, we know what he looks like. I don't know. I don't think we needed to have seen his face as much as we did. Now, will episode 7 fix things? Maybe. Is it going to be a more Boba Fett-centric thing? Maybe, but I feel like episode 7 is going to be a little bit more on Cad Bane, probably a little bit on Mando, I guess steering, because I guess the biggest thing I don't like is that I don't want these shows. Why are these shows having to be advertisements for the other shows? Do you know what I mean? Why does, Boba Fett need to be an advertisement for, 2 episodes for Mandalorian Season 3? I just don't exactly get that. And, while I think Cad Bane may stay in the Boba Fett, kind of arc, which is fine, there's been rumors that, like, Han Solo will show up and stuff. I'm sure there'll be that kind of stuff, but I don't know, like, I guess to me, the premise of what's going on with Boba Fett as a character and him kind of controlling, right, is not even all that, like, it's not good. It's not the greatest story. It's not all that interesting to me. It's kind of boring. And then once, and maybe that's hypocritical, right? Because it's like, okay, well, you're saying you don't like it, and then when it goes to be a Mando show, you don't like that either. Well, I mean, at least stick with what you like. If it's called The Book of Boba Fett and you're telling the story of Boba Fett, even though it's not great, no, I wouldn't say it's horrible, but even though it's not great, I don't suggest pivoting on episode 5. So there's 7 episodes, and 2 of them, Boba Fett's not in it. And the last 2 episodes have been, you know what I mean? I just don't think it's a wise move to make your show about somebody else, and again, make it basically Mandalorian Season 3, episodes 1 and 2, during the Book of Boba. I don't really think that's the greatest use of your time. Now, that could just be me, but I don't know. I don't really have the greatest gauge on the Star Wars fandom. So, is it cool to see these characters? Yes, Cad Bane overall was cool. I have a couple of pretty big issues with his look, but, I'm glad to see him in live action form. Like, that is definitely cool in and of itself. I just wish his eyes were not as big, and also his nose is supposed to be longer. It's not, and so that kind of comes across wrong to me, but whatever. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up, and I hope to see you all on the next video.